A validation quest happens when I try to get my partner to make me feel better about who I am. And this is a throwback to childhood because when I was a kid, I didn't have an inner compass or the ability to say, what kind of a person do I want to be and what's the next step on that journey? I had to look outside me for validation. So I had to turn to parents, teachers, coaches, siblings, friends to say, how am I doing at being me? What kind of a person should I be? What does it look like to be a good person? Or what are desirable traits in the kind of person I should be? So that's called external referencing, which is fine for children and adolescents. But as an adult, I need to learn how to reference internally, which is what kind of a person do I want to be and what's the next step on that journey. And that really has to be something that I determine, not something that's determined by someone else. A lot of relationship discussions boil down to validation quests. So if I'm trying to get my partner to agree with me, it's mostly about me needing the validation of my partner seeing things the way that I see them. If I'm trying to get my partner to approve of me, it's the same thing. It's that I don't feel comfortable signing off on my own behavior, so I'm trying to get you to say that I'm doing okay. If I'm upset because you don't see things the way I do, it's a problem of me not being secure enough in my own perception, so I don't feel okay unless you see things or maybe even remember things the way I remember them. One common example is two people arguing about what happened yesterday or what happened during the last argument. One person remembers it one way, the other person remembers it the other way, and then they're both trying to convince each other that their memory is right. If my wife criticizes me, what she's doing is she's presenting a perception of me that is uncomfortable for me because it's different from how I see myself. And so at that point, I have to decide, am I strong enough to make room for the way she sees me, or am I going to try to convince her that she's wrong instead of just opening myself up to this second point of view on who I am and how I behave? If I try to defend myself against her criticism, what I'm doing is engaging in a validation quest. I'm saying, I'm not okay with you seeing me that way, so I'm going to try to convince you that you're wrong, instead of just accepting the idea that you see me in a more negative light that I see myself. And there is a chance that you see me more accurately than I see myself, because it's common for us to see our partners more accurately than we see ourselves. So the next time you're trying to get agreement or approval from your partner, think about whether you are engaging in a validation quest and see if you can instead turn to yourself and ask yourself, who do I want to be and what's the next step on that path?